Hey guys, we are back for another Kevin Samuels reaction. Let's get into it.
Hello?
Hello? You need to turn off YouTube in the background.
Yes, I know. I left the house
Okay, how are you?
just so I could be able to hear you.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
So what's going on with all this toxicity?
Well, to answer your question, I think modern women today were just not raised correctly. This generation came from a generation where if the woman was pregnant as a teenager, she was pretty much coddled and allowed to.
Okay, I'm gonna say this real quick. Jasmine Brown is a pretty lady. Definitely a pretty lady. She looks slim, looks in shape. Might be what men want so far.
Hello?
I'm still here.
Sorry, I received a call. She was pretty much coddled and allowed to raise the baby, and the mother would raise the baby, and the grandmother would raise the baby. And so you have generations of women who basically lost the wifely essence, if you could say.
I mean, do you have any children?
I have 4 girls.
Are you married?
No.
All from one father?
The first 3 were, but he passed away.
Okay.
That's pretty sad. I'm sorry to hear that. And it sounds like she has another baby daddy. You better marry that guy.
Are you still with your other child's father?
Right now we are on a break.
Mm-hmm. Any particular
But
reason?
we still communicate, we still talk,
You
we
guys
still.
get married?
We plan on getting married. I just have to make sure things are in order.
What does that mean?
What's that?
What does that mean?
Well, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's charming. He does everything emotionally correct, but he just has to grow up a little bit. He has to become a
baby. So I gotta ask her.
Wow. She just was getting ready to say he has to become a man. So he was man enough to lay down and have a child with, just not marry. Gotcha.
Hard question. Why? You got 3 kids, and then you go have another one, and then you say that he's all right to have a baby with, but he ain't good enough to marry?
No, I made the decision to have the child before the marriage. So that was on me.
But still.
He's good enough to marry.
Okay, then why not marry him?
Because he just has to grow into his manhood a little bit more. That's all.
No, it's not all. This doesn't make.
Okay, that's kind of embarrassing and rude. Like, just imagine if he saw this and he was like, wow, what is that supposed to mean? I'm supposed to grow into my manhood more? What does that even mean?
Make any sense to the rest of us in the world?
I know it doesn't. But because when I first met him, it was all charming, all the bells and whistles. He was the one who
why do all that and not have? Why do all that's fine? What brings what makes all of this our business? If you want to know, what makes it our business is when the child is born, because that child goes into the world, and we got to deal with that. Y'all could have had all the sex y'all wanted to, but if he wasn't a man enough to marry, he shouldn't have been man enough to have a baby for.
No, like I said, we were engaged.
It doesn't matter. There's no way to get past it. Baby after marriage.
I asked him whether he wanted to have the child first or the marriage first.
Okay, I'm not going to sit in judgment of her by any stretch of the imagination, but one thing I will say is, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So that means if the first child's father wasn't, man enough to marry, or maybe he passed on in your situation, then the second guy shouldn't have got a kid out of you. That shouldn't have happen, like until he actually gave you the ring. And I know it sounds backwards, for the stepdad to come in, and take care of 3 kids, but he has to put a ring on it before he gets a kid. But honey, if you're ever going to get married, that's how it has to be. You can't bring the kid into the world for the next guy like that without requiring the ring. Because it's just less and less of a chance at that point. Now you got 2 different fathers for someone to have to accept. If you don't marry the second guy, then you have to meet a 3rd man. And, it just sounds like a lot. Like a whole lot.
And he wanted to have the child, so I gave him a child. And it was just it was a decision that was easy for me because I'm already used to being a quote unquote baby mother. So,
I know.
That's what makes it that I made at that age.
But see, that's the thing, and that's what makes it. So, like you said, generational.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing. You've had 3 kids, and you already know that. He wanted to have the child out of wedlock. That should have been number 1 clue that he wasn't ready.
That's not true. It wasn't that he wasn't ready. It was just that I saw things after I had a baby with him that I probably wouldn't have seen if I would have got married first and then had a child.
That's the point. Get married first.
But then I would have been stuck with the things that I have to do.
Okay, so there's just no way to make her feel wrong. In fact, there's always a but with this lady. He wasn't man enough to marry. Well, it wasn't that he wasn't man enough. All the women who literally come on this dude's show, it's the same thing.
Oh, no, absolutely no. No, we gotta stop this shit. We gotta stop this as a culture. We gotta stop this. Y'all are more concerned with being quote unquote stuck. I mean, a mother of 4 kids, you stuck, period. 3 or 4. But we gotta stop this silly shit about, well, being a wife is one thing, but being a baby mama, it's on a different level.
Like I said, it was a cultural thing when I was growing up that it was just kind of, it wasn't okay to be a pregnant teenager, but you would be okay because your mother, your grandmother, your auntie.
I'm just going to say this real quick. Doesn't she kind of sound like Cynthia G?
30. How old is your youngest? How old is your youngest?
She's 3.
Man, you're old enough to know to marry before you carry. It doesn't matter who he was, what he asked for, what the price of tea in China. You got 3 kids. You know that by now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have another woman, another black mother, who is another mother, a black woman in this case, who's just saying, sure, I'll give it to you. And now we got a 4th kid. And we don't have another black family. We got another fractured situation.
It's only fractured in the sense that
it's fractured in the sense that it's fractured. It's fractured in the sense that I'm sitting here talking to a woman. It is fractured in the sense that I'm sitting here talking to a woman who's saying I had a baby for a man who ain't mature enough and handling this man shit. That's how it's fractured. Stop making excuses for it.
I'm not gonna say that he's not mature enough.
It doesn't matter what it is. He wasn't.
So it's like she doesn't want to look bad, so she takes back everything that she said in the beginning. He just wasn't ready. He wasn't man enough. But I won't say that he wasn't mature. You don't bring children to the world for people who aren't willing to marry you. I'm definitely learning from that.
Lord have mercy.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm there, man, but it's just you're not listening.
I hear you loud and clear. I already accepted that, and I hear what you're saying. I've already accepted that. So the only thing that I'm defending is the fact that he is a great guy. He just have a little further he has to do that doesn't require me. I can't help him become a man. He can only do that on his own.
Yeah, those kinds of men should not be fathers.
Why not? He's a wonderful father.
Oh my effing!
She's missing the point. Like, the best chance that you give your kid in this world is that, the nuclear family. And you can think that somebody's a good father from a distance, but it's never going to be the same as if he was actually there every day with you, helping you. So that the days when you get stressed out with them 4 kids, pulling and nagging at you, wanting and got their hands out at you all the time, if you had another person there to help alleviate that stress, you would be a better parent. Your kids would have a better life. That's what he's getting at.
You serious?
Yes.
So what I want you guys to understand, everybody keeps saying marry a single mother. Listen to the logic that's going on here.
What does him not being able to do things within our relationship have to do with him being a father and how he takes care of his children?
You're the one to make it a distinction.
Yes, I made the distinction that he's a great father, but at this point, he's not. I would still marry him right now, but I just know if he can work on his things alone.
What does he need to work on?
He just has to prioritize a little bit more.
Meaning what? Meaning what?
I don't really feel comfortable displaying that on YouTube.
Well, then whatever you say.
Well, then you shouldn't have called into the show. You really don't want help, because if you're not willing to say what's the matter here, then he can't really help you. Then ultimately there was no point in you calling into the show. I'm just saying.
You prioritize, and that means you should have been able. See, all that stuff. You need to have done that before you become a dad, right?
Yeah, I didn't. That didn't come into play at the time when we were dating. And
Well, see, this is what happens when, and honestly, this is what happens when you do things out of order. We ain't got this. So if you guys don't get married for some reason.
Sorry, my neighbor went into the house.
So if you, your neighbor read, oh my. So if you,
no, I said if you heard a door,
if you guys don't get married, then what?
Then that has nothing to do with him being a great father to his daughter.
So you're 32 years old. If you don't marry this father, do you plan on just being single for the rest of your life?
I'm not.
I'm asking, man. If you don't marry this man,
right?
It doesn't have anything with him not doing him not being a great father. You guys co-parenting, any of that. But if you didn't marry this man, would you plan on not dating ever again?
No, I'm gonna still date.
Thank you.
Well, I guess we all know what that means. She lost, and that's a bad deal. That's really a bad deal, because you'll be out on the market, 4 kids, 2 different baby daddies, and you're a broken woman. You know, you don't know how to have a relationship. You don't know how to accept someone and help them grow. And then part of the reason he's probably acting like he's not ready and all that, and he's not mature enough, is because you have 3 daughters by someone else. That's a lot to accept. 3 girls, you know what I mean? And we don't even know how old those children are, because a lot of times age plays a big role in whether or not a man is willing to accept your children. So this is just something to think about in the future. Like, if you're a young woman watching this and you don't have any children, please take heed. Please make sure that when you have a child, you are within wedlock. That way, you know the guy wants what you want, and he's definitely going to be a father and be there for you. You know, that's what most people who go so far as to get married would do. Now, granted, you do have some guys that still aren't ready, but for the most part, if they're going to go so far as to marry you and meet your family, engage your whole lives and livelihoods together, then yeah, they'll be ready to marry you. Maybe it's weird coming from my mouth, but at the same time, I look at it as kind of a mistake. Not that my daughter is something that I would ever take back. It's just that bringing her into the world without actually being married was not good. It just wasn't. You know, it just complicated everything. But I guess I'm not unhappy with the way things turned out. You know, my life is still great moving forward, and I can't complain. You know, I definitely have a lot to be grateful for. So I just want to put this message out for young women who maybe haven't done it yet. You don't want to be a baby mama.